Sometimes, when people leave a place, nature doesn't just stay quiet, it grows back. It climbs over walls, slips through windows, and slowly takes everything back. No rushing, no noise, just time and patience.
In this video, I'll show you 5 real places around the world where nature has taken over. You'll see abandoned cities, forgotten buildings, and places where the forest, the sand, or even the sea have come back in full force.
The visuals you're seeing are just to help you imagine. But if you want, you can just close your eyes and listen. Let me guide you through each one.
So, take a breath, get comfortable, and let's begin our journey through 20 places where nature didn't just come back, it took over.
Let's start in Ukraine, near the border with Belarus, in a city called Pryat. It was built in the 1970s during the Soviet Union to house workers from the nearby Chernobyl nuclear power plant. At the time, it was considered a model city. New buildings, clean streets, modern schools, playgrounds, shops, everything you'd expect in a growing planned community. Almost 50,000 people lived there. Most of them were young families. It was a proud place, a place built for the future. But then, in April 1986, everything changed. One of the nuclear reactors exploded at the Chernobyl plant. It released massive amounts of radiation into the air. At first, the people of Pryat didn't know what had happened. Life continued as usual for about a day. Then came the evacuation. Buses lined the streets. People were told to leave quickly and bring only what they needed for a few days. They thought they'd be coming back soon, but they never returned. What they left behind is still there. Old furniture, children's toys, photos on the walls, books on shelves, frozen in time. And while the people never came back, nature did. Today, Pryat is completely abandoned, but it's not empty. Trees now grow inside apartments. Branches poke out through broken windows. Roots are breaking up sidewalks and cracking walls. Animals roam freely: foxes, deer, birds, and even wild boars. They live in the streets, schools, and homes. The city's amusement park was supposed to open just a few days after the accident. The Ferris wheel was never used. Now it stands, rusted and overgrown. Vines crawl up the supports. Its seats hang in the wind, still and silent. Everything is slowly being taken over. Nature didn't need an invitation. It just moved in. And what's strange is how peaceful it all looks now. Sunlight filters through the trees. Grass grows in the middle of roads. Wildflowers bloom where people once walked. But this peace is only on the surface. Radiation still lingers. The city is still part of the Chernobyl exclusion zone. You can visit, but only for a short time and only with a guide. Even though it's unsafe to live there, life has found a way to return, just not human life. Pryat is a reminder of what can happen when we lose control. And it shows very clearly. that if we leave a city behind, nature doesn't stay on the outside. It takes over, quietly and completely.
Our next stop is in Cambodia, at one of the most famous temples in the world. It's called Angkor Wat. Angkor Wat isn't just a temple. It's a huge complex that stretches over 160 hectares. That's bigger than many modern cities. It was built in the early 1100s, during the time of the Khmer Empire. Back then, it was one of the most advanced and powerful civilizations in Southeast Asia. The temple was originally built to honor the Hindu god Vishnu. Later, it became a Buddhist site. It was meant to represent the universe, and every single stone was carved and placed by hand. People lived around it, worked in it, and worshipped inside it. It was a spiritual center, a political symbol, and a masterpiece of design all at once.
But over time, the empire fell. The population moved away. And little by little, the forest came back. Today, Angkor Wat still stands, but it doesn't look the way it did centuries ago. When you walk through it now, the first thing you notice, besides the size, is the trees. They're massive. Some of them are growing right out of the walls. There are roots that stretch over doorways like they're trying to pull them shut. Others spool down the side of towers like ropes or frozen waterfalls. Some buildings are so wrapped in roots, you can barely see the stone underneath. These trees aren't small garden plants. They're huge. We're talking about strangler figs and silk cotton trees, trees that can grow over 100 feet tall. Their roots can split through stone like it's nothing. And it's not just trees. There are vines everywhere. Moss grows on statues. Leaves cover old steps. And the jungle air is heavy, hot and wet and filled with insects and bird calls.
Even with all this overgrowth, you can still see the carvings. Some walls show scenes from battles or stories from ancient gods. Others just show patterns and symbols. But now they're cracked, chipped, and slowly fading. Tourists still visit Angkor Wat. It's one of the most visited places in Cambodia. But what they see isn't just an old temple. They see a place where nature and history are fighting for space. And most of the time, nature is winning. Some areas have been restored to keep them from falling apart completely. But many parts are left the way they are, part jungle, part ruins. And when you stand in those places, you realize something. We can build amazing things. We can carve stone, move mountains, and raise towers that last for centuries. But nature never stops. It waits. It watches. And when we step away, it moves in. At Angkor Wat, the forest didn't destroy the temple. It just took it back. And now the roots, the vines, and the trees are part of the temple itself. Like it was always meant to be that way. Next, we head to Japan, to a place called Hashima Island. It's a small island off the coast of Nagasaki. From far away, it looks like a giant battleship floating in the sea. That's why many people call it Gunkanjima, which means battleship island in Japanese. But this isn't a ship. It's a ghost town. Built on solid rock, surrounded by seawalls, and filled with tall concrete buildings. At one point, this place was full of life. Hashima was once a coal mining town.
Under the island, there's coal buried deep in the rock beneath the sea. In the late 1800s, Japan started digging here, and by the 1950s and 60s, the island was booming. Thousands of people lived here: miners, engineers, families, children. They built apartment blocks, schools, stores, even a movie theater. Everything a city needs packed into a tiny island. It became one of the most crowded places on Earth. At its peak, over 5,000 people lived in a space smaller than a few city blocks. That's a lot of people, all living and working on this rock in the sea. But everything depended on coal. And when Japan switched to using oil in the 1970s, the mine shut down. Without the mine, there was no reason to stay. In 1974, the last workers left. The boats stopped coming. And just like that, Hashima was empty. Today, the buildings are still there, but they're falling apart. The wind and the salt from the sea are slowly eating away at the concrete. Roofs have caved in. Stairways are broken. Windows are smashed or missing. Inside the rooms, you can still find old furniture, rusty bed frames, broken chairs, leftover tools. Things that were too small or too heavy to carry when people left. Nature started moving in almost right away. Moss grows on the walls. Grass grows in the cracks. Seabirds now perch on balconies where people once stood. Sometimes you'll even see plants growing out of the windows. And it's quiet. No traffic, no voices. Just the sound of waves hitting the seawalls and the wind blowing through broken buildings. You can visit Hashima today, but only with a guide. Most of the island is too dangerous to explore. The structures are unstable. It's not safe to walk through them. But even from a boat, you can feel the atmosphere. It's heavy. Not scary, just still. Like time stopped here. Hashima is a reminder of how fast things can change. One day, a place is full of people. The next day, it's empty. And nature starts to clean it up. Slowly, quietly, until all that's left is concrete and the sound of the sea. Now, let's go to the edge of the Namib Desert in southern Namibia. Out here, surrounded by open land and endless sand, there's an old ghost town called Colemans Cup. It doesn't look like much at first, just a few broken buildings sitting in the middle of nowhere. But once, over 100 years ago, this was one of the richest towns in Africa. Colemans Cup was built in the early 1900s after workers found diamonds in the desert. And not just one or two, diamonds were everywhere. People were literally picking them up off the ground. It didn't take long for a small mining camp to turn into a full town. And this wasn't just a rough mining site. It was fancy. German settlers built big homes with tall windows and strong walls. They had a hospital, a power station, a school, and even an ice factory. There was a bowling alley. There was a ballroom for parties. They even had Africa's first X-ray machine, right here in the middle of the desert. But the good times didn't last forever. After World War I, diamond production slowed down. Then bigger diamond mines were found further south. By the 1930s, most people had left. By the 1950s, the town was completely abandoned. And that's when the desert moved in. Today, Colemans Cup is quiet. No cars, no people, No sound, except the wind. The buildings are still standing, but they're half full of sand. Literally. Walk inside one of the houses and you'll see what happened. The sand didn't wait at the door. It came through the windows, under the doors, down the hallways. Room by room, it filled the floors. In some places, the dunes are waist high. In others, they reach the ceiling.
It looks like someone poured the desert straight into the houses. Some rooms are bright and dry, with cracked paint and broken walls. Others are darker, with sunlight slipping through holes in the roof. The floor creaks when you step on it, if there's a floor left at all. And the sand is always moving. Every year, the dunes shift a little more. Some rooms that were half full last year are almost buried now. You'll also see rusted bathtubs, old doors hanging sideways, and wallpaper peeling like old skin. It feels like the town is being swallowed slowly, one grain at a time. Colemans Cup is open to visitors now, but only during the day. It's too remote and too unstable for people to stay long. Still, it's one of those places that leaves a strong impression. It shows what happens when nature isn't just outside, but inside, not fighting us, just waiting. And when we leave, it moves in, quietly, completely, and without asking. Right in the middle of New York City, surrounded by water and only a few miles from Manhattan, there's a small, empty island that most people have never heard of. It's called North Brother Island, and no one lives there anymore. From a distance, it just looks like a patch of forest in the water, but hidden inside those trees are the remains of an abandoned hospital, old roads, staircases, and brick buildings, slowly being taken back by nature. This island has a long and strange history. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, it was used as a quarantine station. People with dangerous diseases like smallpox, tuberculosis, or typhoid were sent here. One of the most well-known patients was a woman named Typhoid Mary. She was forced to live here for years, isolated from everyone else. Later, during World War II, the island was used as housing for veterans. And in the 1950s, it became a rehab center for teenagers struggling with addiction. But eventually, everything shut down. The last facility closed in the early 1960s. After that, the island was abandoned and left alone. Today, it's completely off limits to the public. The buildings are still standing, but they're falling apart. Roofs have collapsed, floors are unsafe, and the forest has taken over. Trees grow inside old hospital rooms, vines cover the walls and ceilings, branches have pushed through windows and broken bricks. In some places, the buildings are almost invisible beneath the plants.
What makes this place so strange is its location. This isn't in the middle of the jungle. It's in the heart of New York City, one of the busiest cities in the world. And yet, here, just across the river from the Bronx, it's completely silent. No traffic, no lights, no people. Only birds, insects, and the rustling of leaves. Some rare birds even use the island as a nesting spot. Because it's close to the public, it's become a quiet, protected space for wildlife. The contrast is hard to believe.
On one side of the river, millions of people, noise, and skyscrapers. On the other, an abandoned hospital being swallowed by trees.